Want to hear it?
I love the podcast.
The best music.
I like to hear the news updates.
It's on the Odyssey app.
Wherever I'm going, whatever I'm doing.
Your audio toolbox.
I love it because it's so portable.
Gotta download the Odyssey app for sure.
From KDON.
I'm going down the rabbit hole.
It's time to dive deeper.
It's happening again.
They want to keep us divided so we don't realize they're chipping away at our freedoms.
Have we really thought through the cause and effect of our choices?
Tonight, one man will hold back the tide of sinister forces that threaten this great nation.
This isn't about politics. It's about truth in a culture built on noise. Can I get an amen? I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
Yes, we can. Broadcasting live from Las Vegas. Independent, unapologetic, and unfiltered. Steve Sanchez.
Thank you, Greg Ehringer. Steve Sanchez with you. Lots to get to on this Friday. Thank you to our social media audience joining us, and of course everybody listening on the streams with the Odyssey, iHeartMedia, and TuneIn apps. We're going to get right into it, and I spoke a little bit about this yesterday, and I'm going to need your help, especially those watching on the socials. This constant crime wave we're having with illegals. Now, we haven't talked about this in a long time because everybody's talking about Iran and everybody's talking about gas prices, which completely understand. But we're still not dealing with the illegal alien issue, especially the illegal alien criminals that are here. And I've got some suggestions. In fact, President Trump has some suggestions as well on how we deal with this. But let me get into this. And I don't know if you read this or not about this illegal alien actually chewing a toddler's face during an attack in Texas. Yes, here is what went down. This 3-year-old has suffered major injuries to the face, lost teeth during this brutal, what they're calling zombie movie assault. So some young girl and her mom are actually recovering. Thank God. It could have been a lot worse from this vicious, unprovoked attack launched at a Texas lake by an illegal alien. This was in San Antonio just last Saturday afternoon. Gabriela Perez, 27, her 3-year-old daughter. They were fishing at a place called Espada Park when this illegal SOB emerged from a wooded area from the forest there and ambushed him, attacked him. Now the mom's saying, "Hey man, we tried to flee, of course, but the suspect, the illegal alien, yanked her hair, causing her to fall. She dropped the kid." And she said, "I got up." This is the mom saying this. Imagine this for a moment. "I got up and it was like a effing zombie movie. The dude is freaking chewing the face of the 3-year-old. Now, this was Texas. I don't give two craps where it is. I'm a Second Amendment proponent, right? This is Texas. The illegal alien would no longer be with us. If my daughter was getting her face chewed by this illegal criminal that should have never been here, the illegal criminal would have met Satan very quickly. I think anybody's going to agree with me. And if you don't agree with me, you're just an idiot. I'm sorry. You're an idiot if you don't agree with me. What do you want to go psychoanalyze the guy? Oh, maybe he, couldn't sell enough chiclets in Sonora or Sinaloa, Mexico. And I don't give two craps if his daddy left him. I don't care if his mommy left him. I don't care. He's here illegally, A. And B, he attacks this woman, attacks this girl, and he's freaking gnawing the baby's face. He would be on the ground. Let me just put it that way. What the hell's going on with these people? Okay, so that's number one. Number two, I spoke about this yesterday. Some freaking thug in New York, okay, black dude, 14 years old, asks for a 15-year-old girl's phone number. She's like, no, dude, get back. Okay, you're chopped. Get back. Okay, get back. And he would not leave her alone. She didn't want to give the phone number. So you know what he does? Let me tell you what he does. It was all caught on video camera. So I'm getting you up to speed now. He decides to pick her up, body slam her, then stomp her in the head a handful of times. Yeah. Now, he was arrested, obviously. But mom came out. Mrs. Merriweather. She came out, okay? Mom comes out, and here's what she says. Want me to tell you what she says? I'll tell you what she said. She said, so surprised by this. He's a humble, quiet Christian. I'm looking at the video right now on the Blaze. It's a quiet, humble Christian. This is what the mom of the 14-year-old is saying. It didn't provoke anybody. But if you provoke him, he'll lash out. Look, he's lucky he got away with his life. If it was my daughter, trained them well. I've got 2 of them. They're adults now, 35 and 32. But they would have kicked his ass. No question about it. Because I raised our girls to be tough and to fight and understand self-defense. That's why I always talk about self-defense and how you could be in a self-defense situation, right? Okay, so I just wanted to get you up to speed. You know, that mom's the problem. Not my Jason. Not my Jason. Yep, yeah, you're Jason. Yep, you're Jason. But he's humble, quiet Christian. Just likes to pick up girls and body slam them and stomp their head a few times because, well, he didn't get their phone number. And then the illegal alien chewing the face. Freaking zombie. What do we do about it? Well, I think the president of the United States actually has the right solution. Ready, aim, fire. That's what Donald Trump said today. Yeah, I agree with him. Ready, aim, fire. You know what that means? He has told the Department of Justice to restore the old-fashioned death penalty means, and that is by firing squad. I have no problem with it. At this point, I'm no problem with it. Now, the socials might get a little upset with me, but guess what? You watching on the socials, this is how we push back to the liberal tech titans that are libtards, that basically don't want us to have our First Amendment rights and our conservative freedoms, and they try to silence us. They silenced us during COVID. They silence us because they don't like what we say. They don't want to hear the truth, but we're going to hear the truth. Yeah, Donald Trump has introduced bringing the firing squad back as the death penalty, one of the methods. I think producer Nate, there's 16 states, if memory serves correct, that already have the firing squad. I know Utah is one of them. So I'm going to open up phone lines and ask you, and those watching on the socials, you're more than welcome to call as well. 702-257-5396 is how you join us. Is President Trump right? Bringing back the death penalty by firing squad and expedite death penalty cases. And I'll tell you something, this illegal alien that chewed the little baby's face, death penalty by firing squad. No problem with that. This 14-year-old thug, I don't care if he's 14, he needs the death penalty. That's how I see it. And I'm not the only one, because thousands upon thousands upon thousands of people on social media are saying he needs it. Because look what he did. He could have killed her. That's just me. It's one man's opinion with thousands and thousands and thousands of people listening and watching. Now, you get to give me your opinion. Phone lines are open. Look, I've been talking about self-defense, so the attorneys on retainer is a perfect time to talk about this. They're the only law firm in the country that exclusively handles self-defense cases. And look, if that illegal alien was attacking you and started gnawing on your 3-year-old's face, yeah, you're probably going to pull out your pew-pew, right? That's what you're probably going to do. And you're going to need Second Amendment protection. You're going to need self-defense protection because they're going to try to make an example of you and protect the illegal. This is where the attorneys on retainer comes in. They're the leading self-defense law firm in the country. I've been a member for years. I'm going to make it easy for you to be a member. Those listening by the stream, those watching on the socials, all you need to do is go to attorneysonretainer.us/Sanchez. In fact, those watching on the socials, you can go up to the link. You'll see it there. Attorneysonretainer.us/Sanchez. You immediately get a $25 off sign-up fee, and it's a little better than $1 a day to have self-defense protection in the event that some illegal comes from the woods, knocks your wife down, and starts chewing your 3-year-old's face, and your wife has to pull a weapon and defend herself. You need this self-defense protection. Do that now. We're going to take a break. When we come back, I'm going to open up phone lines once again. We're going to start taking some of your calls, and yeah, we've got a lot to talk about tonight. No question about it. Steve Sanchez with you on this Friday. Glad to be here. We'll be right back.
Most of us don't think twice about turning on a light, taking a shower, or running to the store. But what if you couldn't for a week or longer? Have you considered what you would do without power or running water? Most people aren't prepared for 3 days, let alone weeks. But here's the good news. If you can prepare now for 30 days, you're ready for almost anything. Power outages, wildfires, earthquakes, or any unexpected disruptions. Getting there is easier than you think. Create a disaster preparedness kit today. Pick up 1 extra can of food this week. Set aside a few gallons of water. Pick up a battery-powered radio, extra batteries, and a flashlight. Include a first aid kit and your basic household needs. Small steps add up, and before you know it, you're ready. For a checklist and more info, visit oem.nv.gov. Sponsored by the U.S. Department of Homeland Security, the Nevada Office of Emergency Management Homeland Security, and your local emergency manager's office, in cooperation with the Nevada Broadcasters Association and this station.
Understanding them.
All right, appreciate everybody hanging out. Yeah, for those watching on the socials, you heard me just talk about what I talked about in the segment. Go to my link. Go to my link right now and become a member of the Attorneys on Retainer. They sponsored this segment. I've been a member for years, and I'm going to tell you something, friends. If you had to put yourself in a self-defense position, I don't care if you had to use a weapon, a baseball bat, your vehicle, you need an attorney, not an insurance company like the other guys, but a real attorney to defend your needs for $1 a day, like $30 a month. I mean, well, that's a no-brainer. Why aren't you doing this? Yeah, you may never need it. Pray to God you never do, but if you do, you have an actual attorney. If you're living in Las Vegas, an attorney in Las Vegas starts representing you. No other fees, ever. If you're in Phoenix, same thing. Houston, same thing. Florida, same thing. It's worth it, especially in today's crazy times we're in. So go up there, read about it, check out the videos, join today. Again, when you go up to my link, and make sure you use my link, you're going to get that $25 off the sign-up fee. And, of course, it's a little better than $1 a day. I think it comes to like $32 a month. And it's, come on, that's freaking 2 Starbucks. It's, don't do 2 Starbucks once a week. Do this. Boom. Covered. Done. All right. Drop your comments. Same question goes to you. Based on what you just heard, based on what we talked about, is the president making the right decision by bringing back firing squad for death penalty? I say yes, because I am tired of the belligerent, horrible, chaotic threats, violence, and even murders that are happening in this country. As victims, we need to stand up and step up. That's how I see it. So, all right, we're going to come back to radio here in just a moment. You can also call me if you're watching on the socials. You know the number. Producer Nate's going to drop it in the comments. Call me live. We'd love to hear from you. We'll be right back on radio in a minute.
Gift cards or cryptocurrencies. Pause and report fraudulent activity to the FTC. For more information, visit oem.nv.gov. Sponsored by the U.S. Department of Homeland Security, the Nevada Office of Emergency Management Homeland Security, and your local emergency manager's office, in cooperation with the Nevada Broadcasters Association and this station.
Do you have fatigue from seeing all the so-called social media experts have an answer to your questions? Well, my friend Guy Nora has answers. He's got a common sense first agenda that can help you if you're struggling in your finances, your personal relationships, or your health. Former 2022 gubernatorial candidate right here in the state of Nevada and a successful venture capitalist and philanthropist, not to mention radio and TV show contributor, he has answers. Visit him on his socials at The Real Guy Nora for new content dropped daily.
1015 FM KDON.
You're listening to Steve Sanchez. Phone lines are open. Call him now at 702-257-5396.
All right, welcome back. Steve Sanchez hanging out with you on this Friday edition of the program. Phone lines are open. 702-257-5396 is how you join us. We're glad that our social media audience is joining us for this additional segment. And, of course, those listening on the stream, I think Dodgers might be playing ball tonight. I don't know, because they're not my team. I can care less. I am a San Diego Padres fan. Always have been, always will be. But if you're listening on the streams, Odyssey, iHeartMedia, TuneIn app, or the SteveSanchezShow.com, we're glad you're with us. So we're live, and we are taking calls. So I gave you a couple of extreme examples, but there's extreme examples every single day in this country with violence and murders and mayhem. And this illegal alien in San Antonio, Texas, coming out of the woods, attacks this woman, Gabriela Perez. She's 27, and her daughter, 3 years old, and starts chewing the 3-year-old baby's face. I have a problem with that, don't you? I mean, who wouldn't have a problem with that unless you're just a lunatic? So President Trump earlier today talked about, not just because of this specific issue, but just across the board, said, look, we need to bring back the firing squad as the death penalty option. I'm for that. I've always said bring back the electric chair, so I'm fine with that, and you don't even have to pay me. I'll go pull the switch for you. No problem, because there's some monsters in this world, in this country. We've seen what they've done. We've seen how they've hurt families. We've seen how they've shaken foundations, and we can't let people, we have to now make examples of the worst in society, right? We've got to make examples. I really believe that if you make example, then it probably is a good deterrent in the future for someone else to copycat this stuff. It's just we don't make examples. We have a ridiculous death penalty in this country where someone sits on death row for 30 years getting 3 hots and a cot, cable TV, a gym, and they work out. I mean, right? I mean, let's be real. Now, I know there's this argument between the death penalty being moral or not moral, and depending on what faith you are, I can give you a lot of biblical foundation that there is a good reason for the death penalty. Now, of course, some people are going to disagree with me, and that's fine. This is America. No problem. But I can't see why the death penalty shouldn't be something that is definitely pursued, and not just pursued, but bring back the electric chair. President Trump said we want to bring back firing squads. And so to me, this lethal injection business, well, guess what? That's what you do when you put your dog down. You put him to sleep. So why are we being so sensitive to the most heinous of people? And so that's just how I see it. How do you see it is the real question. Now, some people that are Catholic, I think probably an overwhelming majority of Catholics are against the death penalty. I was raised Catholic, and I'm not against the death penalty. I'm not Catholic now, but I could be wrong, but I do believe many that practice Catholicism are adamantly opposed to the death penalty. But now there's this growing sentiment in the Catholic Church of pro-choice. No, see how that makes sense. But, that's just my opinion. All right, the phone lines are open. If you'd like to join us, 702-257-5396. If you're watching on the socials, you can drop your comments or your questions. We'll read those also in the next segment. So is this the solution? Firm and just punishment for these types of heinous crimes? Or do we take the route of our liberal counterparts and go study the psychological aspects of why this illegal alien decided to chew the face of a 3-year-old baby and attack the mom. I mean, I'll be honest with you. Number one, they're illegal. They shouldn't be in this country. A. B, it was a madman. I mean, who does that? Who goes, I mean, freaking zombies. Do we have zombies? Some people say we have zombies. Do we have zombies? I mean, that's very zombie-like, or maybe it's just demonic. I think that's probably more what it is, because there's a lot of witchcraft that comes out of Mexico. And I'm Hispanic, so I can tell you there's a lot of the occult. There's a lot of witchcraft that comes out of Mexico. And so this, to me, this attack by this illegal is very reminiscent of occultic and demonic type activity. Okay, let's call it what it is. It's not a normal attack. And again, there's no normal attack, but you know where I'm going with it. When you go to this level to do this, you've got some demonic issues going on that need to be delivered, or you need to have a priest go and give you an exorcist or something, or an exorcism or something. I'm in agreement with President Trump. I believe 16 states in this country also agree with firing squad for the death penalty as the choice. What say you? Too extreme? Too harsh? Is that barbaric? Or could you sit and put yourself in the place and position of some of these grieving families that have the most heinous things done to their children? Can you then say that, yeah, the death penalty, and yes, by firing squad, absolutely is fair and just? That's just how I see it. The real question is, how do you see it? That's the real question. How do you see this? Not fun to talk about, but look, we got to talk about this stuff. We just can't keep talking about Iran. Okay, we've got our own lunatics running in the country, running around street corners, running around the neighborhoods. You know it, and I know it. How many of you have to look over your shoulders every time you come out of Target or a shopping mall? Do you look over your shoulder much more than you ever did? Of course you do. You want me to tell you why? Because we have lunacy, we have anarchy, we have violence. And sadly, there are many judges that excuse this, many judges that go stick someone in an asylum and have them studied for mental illness. You have many that get off on probation, or they get an ankle bracelet and they still get to live at home watching The Price is Right in the morning. I mean, this is really, really what we deal with in today's society. You know it, and I know it. I mean, that's a fact. All right. We got a break in front of us. We got bills to pay. When we come back, we're going to talk about the economy, the universal basic income. Is it real? Is it a thing? Yeah, I think it's going to be a thing, because AI is a thing, and a lot of jobs are going to be displaced. So we're going to talk about that. Of course, take your calls. Once again, phone lines are open, 702-257-5396. I'm Steve Sanchez. We'll be right back. Okay, we're going to bounce out of the stream. Happy Friday to everybody. We're glad you're hanging out with us. You can still hang out with us for the next almost 2 hours as we're live on radio and all the streams, Odyssey, iHeartMedia, TuneIn apps. You can still listen to the show, participate in the show. We appreciate it. If you haven't followed me, follow me. Share the content. We're also on Facebook, TikTok, all the platforms. We want to make sure you're hanging out with us. We typically, every evening, right in the first couple of segments of our radio show, we go live in the Undisclosed Bunker Studios. We love hanging out with you. We do appreciate you. But we're going to bounce, get right back to radio. Catch us with those apps. In fact, if you're on the socials, go up to the bio. You can see the SteveSanchezShow.com. Click that. You can have a listen live opportunity. All you do is hit it. It's free, and you can hang out with us for the rest of the show. All right, peace.